What we did on this is just take a khaki color, an orange color, and a black color, and then actually there's a brown in there as well, and we cut it with Curable reducer. And they recommend you get the spec sheets on it, and it'll say you can add 10-15%, whatever it might be. Well, this is one of those things that we kind of broke the rules, and lots of people are doing it now too. You can buy it in a gallon, you can buy a quart. It's like a kind of a milky substance here. I'm going to button up. So we'll use our Curable reducer, and we're not using a scale. I'd encourage you to use a scale. And we'll just throw in 10% white, or 30% white. So it's mostly Curable reducer. And that gives us so we're going to run about 70%. We're using our Ryo white. And what this does is give us almost a water-based texture. And there's nothing wrong with water-based. It's not all that difficult to use, especially in a more humid type climate. Drier climates are a little harder. But today's inks are so much better than they were 20 years ago. But we'll do a lot of stuff with this. We call it our Fox water base, or faux water base, fake water base. And now we don't have to worry about it at all. It's easy to clean up. You know, a lot of the water bases you can leave in the screens now for hours that you couldn't years ago, but you still ultimately got to clean them out with water. For better or worse, it's not that big a deal. So we've taken our logo, our elephant logo. We've gone to is this a 300? 305? And our off contact distance is very small. This happens to be at 30 newtons. So as your thread diameters get smaller, as you move up, they won't go as high in tension. So 30 newtons on this one. And we take it looks like water based. I will caution you, and hopefully we've done it, you want to make sure that your screen is very well taped, because it will leak just like water based would. Alright, making a little bit of a mess here. Now you say, okay, well, on a 305, gosh, that'll kill my hands. I'll never be able to do that. Well, it's like water, so it falls right through. So on a black shirt, you can see what we're approaching here is we end up with a tone-on-tone approach. Flash this a little too dry. So you can at least put your hands on it while we print it again. Go ahead. Then if you pass this around, there's virtually no hand to it. I'm sorry, jumping right in front of you.
So the reducer was 70% and a plasticine.
Mm-hmm. But make sure it's a curable reducer, because some reducers are only made to 3 to 5% or whatever that might be, and they're not curable. So the key word on your reducer is that it's a curable reducer. So it'll go down the dryer. And this will look better. That's beautiful. One of the tricks I want to show you real quick after he gets this is this. Throw it on these two, actually on. Go ahead and flash it so I can hand it around. Actually, if you just hand it and have them run it down the dryer.
Yeah, just put it on both sides.
So the bonus to this, which is kind of fun, when we print it on different colors, it's so transparent, it takes on the color underneath it. Once you see this, I'll make a comment. The only reason he's flooding, he wouldn't need to, is just to move the ink to the back. We don't care about ink deposit here. So it's a tone-on-tone feel and look, and we always tell our customers no additional charge for the color matching. You go on this tone. We just put an interesting fill in the art just to give, I think it's a paisley pattern, just to give it some interest. Or you could do a distress pattern, anything like that. And you really, because of all of a lot of the negative space going on, you're not really held all that accountable for anything. Again, look how well this merchandises together hanging on the shelf with all the different tones together. And we didn't have to change a single ink in any of that. Now it works the same way with the black. We thin down the black and do the exact same thing, and instead of knocking the colors out of each other, we print them on top of each other, and that gives us a kind of third color. The inks are so thin we don't have to do any flashing. And again, do a little bit over the seam. The whole over the seam thing is pretty hot, but it's really fun as you start to hang them together. And they all take on the different tones. So we'll a lot of the time be able to upsell our customers.
So that's just a wet on wet process?
All wet on wet. Now it doesn't, you ever heard the term fibrillation? I know what that is. Cotton swelling up through the ink. And our customer tells us, no, the print's washing off, and you try to tell them, no, that's the cotton swelling up, and they say they don't care, they just want the print to look better when it launders. You're going to get fibrillation in something like this. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. In fact, we do some post-laundering sometimes to get it to swell up through it. We're not worried about opacity. We're not worried about hard black on green. We want the fibrillation. We welcome it. So we're embracing it and making it part of the brush. It's another brush in our toolbox instead of it being some limiting factor.